Stay here. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about some other books that I've made. And, you know, I've done a lot of family research. That is what I do. It's been my forte. And it's not just my family, but Ian's family. And you have to remember that when you start out, you have two parents. Your two parents have two parents each, and so on, up it goes. So I've done a lot of collecting of stuff and put some books together. But because everybody gets so confused of what I'm talking about, since I'm the only person who seems to know what I'm doing, I've made little books for each of my families. I did one of these for my brother and my sister. Hopefully they can work out now who our relations are. And this one is mine, and I've stitched a cover, that's the cover, in reds. I decided that my grandmother and Granny Ethel should be in red. Goodness knows, she always wore black or dark blue in all the photos that I've managed to come across. But I made a little front cover for her. I'll put her on the front cover. It's a piece of fabric that I printed. But as with my other books, I've made cords with sari ribbon, and I fed machine stitch cord through them. This time I haven't used my flower stitch foot, but I've just made free flowers inside. And inside I've done from when my great-great-grandparents came to New Zealand. So I started off with me, and that's my parents. And some places there's nothing fancy about these, but it's a really good way to make a record if you're trying to sort out who your family is. And I've just used photos that I've got, and I've used I can't remember, I think Moonshadow Mist sprayed around the edges, or dipped in, or it could be coffee or tea or whatever takes your fancy. And then I've just done runs up through as my mother's parents, my my grandmother's parents on my mother's side, maternal side, her mother's family, through back to her father, who came from Sweden, and there's nothing about him, and then to my grandfather, my maternal grandfather's side. See, as you can see, I haven't got a lot of photos, but they all pretty well arrived in New Zealand, South Island or North Island. So that's them. And then I went to my father's side. That's my father, and that's his parents. And one of the reasons I started all this is because nobody in my family was slightest interested or knew anything about my our grandmother. And I just have an affinity with her, so I wanted to follow it through. And that's her when she was little, and her parents, and her parents' parents, and then her husband, and what happened, where he went, and then my father's family, which a lot of is known about. They came to Wanganui and very this and that, and set a bakery up, and everybody knows about them. So that was my little book that I did. And on the back, they had a bakery, so I put the teacups from Dustin's and some bit of drawing that I'd done. So that was my little book. And as I said, I gave one to my brother and my sister, and I hope they enjoyed them. And then I thought, well, Ian got all confused about who his relations were as well. So I made him one. And for his one, I've used his parents on the front when they got married. And I use greens, maybe because they lived in Reefton, and it's the green of the bush on the west coast, perhaps. And again, I made a cord with sari ribbon, and I machine stitched a cord and put it through. And I didn't use flower stitches. I just stitched straight buttonholes, free stitching. And again in here I put his, but I haven't got a lot of, I haven't proceeded very well here, so there are photos missing. But I've gone through exactly the same principle of running through the paternal and maternal lines, and making our way up to Ian's great-grandfather, who came to New Zealand, who was also, believe it or not, a baker. And then on the back, there's a photo of people who want to know what Ian looks like. That's when he was little with his cat, whose name I forget, but he'll know. And there's 4 generations of his family, of the Rollisons. That's Ian there, and our son Grant, and his nana and his father. So that's just an idea if you're interested in that sort of thing. I've used different stitches on my machine, just put it all together, woven it. You know, I love weaving things, and so I've done the same here, just woven up stuff that I found that I thought would work. I've used ticking fabric because I think that is sort of appropriate. So there, that's a little idea if you're looking for an idea of some way to display your family or your current things or whatever you're doing. But I do love making these little books. So I hope that's given you a few little handy hints, and I'll see you again. Bye.